Men who love polygamy are going to struggle with the striving by women who have been trained a different kind of culture. Polygamy was not even that big a problem in the days of apartheid. Like, the situation is that bad. Like, black people are out here dealing with oppression, and yet they still marrying one woman, one man. And women are still out here rightfully upset at cheating husbands and vice versa. Only in the new South Africa did you go and mess up with all that. You messed up with all that. Polygamy became an issue. And when a man is polygamous, however, dealing within that polygamy of his, he's not in the type of culture that makes for the facilitation of proper polygamy. In the Middle East, in ancient days, women couldn't work. They had to lean on their brothers or their fathers if at all they were widowed. But largely their husbands, and they better hope their husbands stay alive. If, however, they don't have fathers and brothers and whatever, they've got to lean on the community to take care of them. Women couldn't work. In a culture like that, women are happy to be married off in one marriage to one dude. Polygamy. It works in a culture where women have no other options. It works in a culture where women have no other options. That over there is the nature of polygamy. I really don't know what to do over here. Listen, I don't know. What do you think? Do you care? I don't. It's alright. It's okay. If you're wondering, Karaba, what are you talking about? I cannot have a anything. You see, like, I don't know what's going on over here. What do you think? Do you care? Anyway, it's not working anyway. Listen, polygamy, as in, I know how to deal with stuff. Like, I know how to deal with stuff. And I be dealing with it. It's not gonna deal. Are you feeling distracted by all my activity? I'm also like distracted. There was a time when yes indeed, where polygamy kind of sort of low-key was acceptable. Not that it ever made sense. Cain was the first descendant of Adam and Eve. His descendants are the first ones to introduce polygamy. So, I mean, if it started with the first dude to actually commit the most heinous sin in the Bible, then, I mean, no duh. The Lord is not interested in whatever it is under heaven that you're doing over here. Okay? You're not going to understand what in the world under heaven is going on over here, so you're going to be out here pulling a crazy stunt and being nice and monstrous. So do you, baby, with your monstrosity. Nobody cares anymore. I've been saying it. Anyhow. Yeah, women are more happy to accommodate polygamy in cultures, even though it don't make anybody kind of comfortable. Anybody in the women community, they're willing to accommodate it, but all they're living in a culture where women don't have a material strength, right? And when then women don't have material strength, and they are polygamists, but they're not regulated by laws of righteousness, essentially, they will also be abusive to the many women that they have housed in their particular courtyards. So therefore, only in righteous men within that polygamy is there safety amidst their millions of wives. But when then you mix polygamy with unrighteousness, it then presents many more problems. The heart of a man is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I knew it. I fixed the problem. Oh. The lover boy that wants to come into my life even though he's entirely inappropriate. Polygamy poses a most dangerous threat to women when the man in question is just entitled to all these women, as opposed to truly loving or even providing. Given that cultures got men used to polygamy, women accepted it, and they were largely able to be safe within it if the men in question were righteous. Fast forward to 2025, where it's the perilousness of the last days. Now polygamous men are entitled, they no longer love, they no longer care, they no longer service, they no longer regard women as anything at all valuable, just pawns to be used. And so if at all they're used as pawns, right next to just this decrepit, broken structure of marrying more than one woman as a man, that structure in and of itself is decrepit and broken. But when in the center of this decrepit, broken culture, there's also a lack of morality, it arguably be breeding gender-based violence to, in particular, women that don't want anything to do with this or who complain to a man who is a polygamist. These men feel entitled to get theirs no matter what, and a woman must just shut up, not speak. They will use religion as an iron fist on her. And so if at all these women have any kind of big mouth in a polygamous establishment, they're gonna die. But now, fast forward to a culture of 2025 where you've got this dichotomy, this weird little existence in a nation like South Africa where polygamy has just become really popular, famous, crazy because of the entertainment industry. Polygamy has become nicely incendiary. Right? But it's okay, because if at all you're a woman and you're willing to accommodate all that trash, baby girl, do you, boo-boo. You don't get to take us on that rough ride. You don't get to take us on that rough ride. You literally don't. You would think that these men that are polygamistic would leave it at the ladies that are willing to go out like that. These chimpanzee females that allow themselves to take that. These chimpanzee, namby-pamby, flaccid females that allow themselves to be taken over by the tsunami of polygamy. Batlogeleng the chimps to do whatever they want to do and not be appreciated by one man that's going to love them for the rest of their days, having progressed past the days where women were entirely dependent on men. When in 2025 in South Africa, you accommodate polygamy, whatever chimp, it's on you. Do you, little ape, in your ancient, primitive, general demeanor. Do you. And if at all a woman is happy to be a little imp a little chimp sort in a house to a polygamist. Okay, she's got a freedom to be herself. She's living in a free country with a beautiful law, isn't she? But you see, the problem with these chimpanzee females, because that's what you are, you've made all of our lives hard by embracing a culture from long ago in the spirit of, but it's my culture, it's my black life and it matters, listen, I don't care. Yeah, these ladies that allowed themselves to be used and abused and shared between women, they claim to be content with it, but listen, you never can be. Nonetheless, whatever, if at all it was left at you accommodating polygamy, crazy females, and these men are like, I'll marry. It's like the gay community in a culture and a society that is largely like what it is that I grew up in, where most people are straight, and if you're gay, you're gonna have a hard time meeting a lover unless you go to a gay club. But now they be out here bold-facedly in 2025 shellering you in a lecture because you smiled at them in class. What the heck? Like what? Because Netflix is out here pushing your agenda, you think it's okay to shell at any chick that smiles at you? Chicks can be friendly to each other because they're looking for friends. I don't want you trying to put your tongue in my mouth anyway, whatever. Right. Just like gay culture, thanks to the emboldenment of gay people, as a result of our governments out here coddling them like they're cute babies in a cot, gay people got brazen, bold, and upset at everyone that is like, no thank you. That's why this chick at YouTube is abusing me, because now she's a member of this colorful community. When something is operating in its own silo, it's okay if it wants to continue as a chimpanzee. But if at all that chimp activity is now, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's pervasive. When then all that chimp activity is full of harshness and force, that's when the rest of us are now suffocating under it, isn't it? Because of these chimp females that accommodated polygamistic men. These men then, because we're dwelling in a culture that has no honor for women, they don't respect them, they don't take care of them, and so therefore it is no healthy atmosphere for polygamy to thrive. Not that polygamy was supposed to start in the first place, but in the event that there should be polygamy, men are supposed to treat their wives the way that David treated those wives and the way that Solomon treated those women. Men in polygamous unions were supposed to treat their wives the way that Jacob treated Leah and Rachel. Though he didn't love Leah that much, nonetheless he wasn't abusive. Men that had concubines and many wives that were righteous in the Bible did not abuse these women. But in 2025, where there's no morality, their polygamy is exceptionally erroneous, more so especially precisely because these stupid men are rude and abusive. So Wonkumfazi is angry and mad and ridiculous precisely because that share them with 20 other women are not even the best of husbands. Noma Bagridi, but 27. They are still really super freaking mean to these women, and they still bring diseases to all 27 of them. They still bring chlamydia. Listen, you are sleeping with 27 women. You better keep the negative HIV status among all of you as a caucus of 30 folk, you crazy Mormon. But they're bringing diseases to 27 women in one sitting, bringing illnesses into households, bringing bereavement all over the streets. Not only that, they're still with the brazen audacity to keep cheating on 27 wives. So that level of infidelity, Nje, is the era of the accommodation of polygamy by the chimpanzee females. But now that we're dealing with entitled men that have procured for themselves chimp ladies, these baboons, because it's the planet of the apes in these polygamous establishments, given that they already have no kind of respect for women at all, when you're like, Askis Abuti, I mean, do you? I respect your culture and everything, brother. Marana, I'm not a polygamous lady. When a lady gently says no thank you, I give it a modern lady out there marrying a man with 20 other women. I don't want it. No, it's okay. But do you with your culture? I will respect you because I live in a country that has got two laws that are entirely antagonistic to each other. Insofar as you're a black person, you are covered by customary law. But if you are any other race, that's how they look at that. I don't even know how they litigate in court, having two different laws in this country that are diametrically opposed to each other. I don't know how they litigate. I don't know, but it's there. Anyway, whatever. We've got customary law and we've got English law, and English law influenced what we call the common law, and indeed it's that common because it applies largely to the country, and it's the one in which laws of things like murder, don't kill, don't steal, don't destroy, like your daddy the devil. Yeah, that's where you be finding all these statutes. They derive from English law, from common law. But this common law was just not enough for these greedy South African men. They made a decision that we want our many wives because we're black culture, triple decker, like the bus. Okay, very well. They want all their wives, and if at all this is what it is that is our law, fine, whatever, do you. Insofar as you're not going to step on my toes, and especially if, seeing as the supreme law of the country is the constitution of the nation, that any other, this is the whole thing, any other statute is subservient to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Constitutional law is paramount to all these other laws. So if there is a clash of the titans pertaining interpretation of the law, whatever is in the Constitution takes paramount. It takes preference. This is what we're running with. So if the Constitution, anything in the Constitution is infringed, mistakenly so, because they prosper to make laws that antagonize each other, the Constitution wins. And that's why the Constitutional Court of this country is the highest court in the land, right next to the Supreme Court of Appeal. They're the highest courts. Can nobody go beyond them. You also cannot have a case litigated both at the Supreme Court of Appeal and the Constitutional Court. It's just that the Constitutional Court takes on constitutional matters, whereas the Supreme Court of Appeal is for all these other cases, type establishment thing. So seeing as the Constitutional Court of this country is the highest court of the land, it therefore also emphasizes the veracity of indaba yokuthi. If anything goes against the Constitution of this land, you lose. Dun, 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 wah, 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 wah. Okay, yeah, very well. Now that we've put that out there, let's then highlight indaba yokuthi. If at all you are to be infringing a woman's freedoms based on what they stipulated in the Constitution, you don't get to rock up with your nasty, gnarly, towed up from the flow up like tire treads in a vehicle that have been entirely worn out, so your car is just skidding all over the rain. You don't get to rock up with your tired, skid mucky customary law and quote that trash and win against somebody whose human right has been infringed on by your freaking customary law. Very well. Now that we've put that over there, let us then speak about this Msholozi disaster that slapped South Africa like a tsunami in Japan. Aribue. Kimo entertainment industry is trying to punt, proliferate, and push like it's a baby out of a belly or whatever. Customary law at the expense of the human rights of South Africans. Right? And this here is comprehensively ignored because our very leaders, our very presidents, our very government is more pro-customary law than they are even common law or the Constitution, despite the Constitution being paramount to all other laws in the country. Okay, I don't get it, but okay, carry on. Keep talking. We might reach an agreement. Alright, I'm here for you. Okay. Not only did our leaders completely ignore more important statute in favor of their determinations and their demands, they then started a cult to push customary law, a polygamy, and push it so much in the entertainment industry that hoping that we would be nicely influenced and cajoled into embracing this as a reality, they now, upon being frustrated because polygamy does not work very well in a society where women are strong. At the end of the day, when Eve fell, God's judgment on her was that from now on your desire will be for your husband. Therefore, a woman only ever capitulates to polygamy because she has nowhere else to go. But when she's got everywhere to go, up and down and even spinning on the spot like Itobo, when she's got everywhere to go, she's not going to opt for polygamy because a woman's deep entrenched desire and so therefore jealousy is for indota yakhe akazofuna ukumshare. Mara epangakudla dog. I spoke about that in the last video in Maslow's hierarchy of needs and I expanded on it. If at all security affiliation, if I'm not gonna grab you and be weird and anomalous like a chimpanzee the way that Kimang was a chimp. The chick that passed away that joined polygamy and all of us were all confused. Mshoza, while there are chimps that are to make like Mshoza, even though you're perfectly able to take care of yourself, you nonetheless choose to be in a polygamous marriage. If these chimpanzee women want to do this, let them do it. It's on them. The Constitution gives you a right to a freedom of practicing whatever cultural nuance you might desire, believe in, whatever might be your religious affiliation. Do you? And customary law is rooted in a lot of traditional religion. So for those reasons, if you want to marry a man based on Ndabuguti, me, I'm a Zulu girl and I'm gonna do what Zulu girls do. Marry Ushaka Zulu I want. No, I see 27. Honey, ain't nobody gonna give you any kind of grief. We won't even judge you. In a corner, we'll call you a chimpanzee, but largely we'll leave you be to fly like a bird. Okay? If then this here lady chica, this one anomalous chick is just that. She's an outlier. She's an outlier. She is on the far extreme of the normal distribution. She does not represent the majority. Most women desire their husbands. Most women want one man for one woman. Most women are actually gonna clap you in public when they find out you've been cheating. Most women want a man that is into monogamy. Whether or not men believe that this is feasible, bottom line is when you're unrighteous, you're gonna think trash. When you're unrighteous, you are going to cogitate trash all the day long and say stuff like, but I can't be with just one woman, until you get shown flames by men who can be monogamous because, I don't know, they're godly. Very well. So seeing as most women are not like Mshozi, alright? Seeing as most women are not like Mshozaza, but rather given that they've got independence, financial strength in a way that men are now frustrated by, there then arose up this epidemic of gender-based violence in this crazy country that is called South Africa, where it is that men that are polygamistic, feeling entitled because the law allows them to marry more than one woman, wanting a particular female. This chick being like, all the women who independent, throw their hands up at me. But only been some tired songs from back in the day. Ako jwetsa hore o nyetse le teng basadi ba itre a go hleke bosweni o some among ka tla yang shela. Or a woman finding out that her boyfriend actually has 3 wives. With some damper. No, that's when gender-based violence started being a thing. I thought that they were given entitlement to more than one woman. However, being unrighteous, not covered by, listen, customary law is an affront to Christianity. And it ought to be embracing customs. It ought to be embracing traditional law in this country. That's what customary law is. So therefore, it is a comprehensive disregard of Christian Judeo values that we have been raised up in. It disregards the foundation of common law, which is English law, derived right next to Roman Dutch derived, that takes its roots from what? Christianity. So therefore, that's why our nation, South Africa, is called a Christian country. And even our national anthem, even after apartheid ended, still maintained a Christian nuance. Go see Kilele, Africa, Molly Parkin used to Tumblr, yo. Listen, it's a Christian national anthem. It's actually making hymn. It's actually giving hymn. Our national anthem is giving hymn, okay? It's practically a hymn. Our national anthem is practically a hymn. And so because of how our national anthem, even after apartheid ended, was maintained practically as a hymn, that was an agreement tacitly by the South African public that our country is Christian. There are no nuances, as at the last time I checked anyway. They be out here forcing nonsense down people's throats these days, but there are not even small little, whiffs of traditionalism in our national anthem. There isn't even a single iota of ancestral worship in there. There's no acknowledgement of ancestors. No speaking about Abadala, Bababizan, ancestors. No, yeah, Kidinja, because some of them died rapists. Listen, Kidinja. There is no such a thing as that. Therefore, tacitly agreeing on a national scale that we're a Christian country. Don't be out here coming at me like some kind of bat out of hell. Our national anthem tacitly agrees and tells the whole world when we're singing in stadiums before soccer matches that we're a Christian nation. Our nation is Christian based on our national anthem, and this was agreed even after apartheid ended. So black people had no qualms with our country being Christian. Nobody had qualms with it. Not even the Muslims in this country picked a bone with the fact that no Allah is mentioned in our national anthem. No Hindus picked a bone about all their many gods not being mentioned even slightly. No Jews complained about Jesus being the center of our national anthem. Everybody else was like, okay, it's your country, we're just living in it. Everyone else, Muslims, everyone else, Hindus, everyone else, Buddhists, atheists, everyone else, Jews, were like, this is your country, Christians, we're just living in it. We get it, it's okay, it's alright, it's okay. I'm not gonna complain. Just let me burn my menorah on Hanukkah, and I ain't gonna give you grief. Let me go to my mosque on Fridays as a boy in school and leave early, and I'm not gonna give you grief about the fact that every time we have to stand up and put our hands on our chest, we're gonna sing to the God of the Bible. Everybody else understood that was not Christian in this country, that this is your country, we're just living in it. And insofar as you will give us rights to exist and roam these streets freely, after making like Miss Daisy with Amasasa Amangaga in summer, we're not gonna give you problems. So Muslims, we're happy to accommodate our Christian country because we left them to do their Islam in peace. Fly like a bird, oh Muslim, be like a bird, and then go and fly away. Do you Muslim? Do you Hindu? We're not going to give you problems. We're not going to give you quick current. We're not going to stare you upside down, up and down like you be stankin'. You be stankin'. We'll let you be because that's what Christian countries do. They give people a freedom of religion. They give people a freedom to be themselves. But they also put it out there that this is my country, you're just living in it. So insofar as you're an alien in my nation that is nicely tucked in like a shirt inside the body of a child going to school in the morning, inside the pants, if you tuck yourself neatly and respect that this is a Christian country and so all of our public holidays are going to be based on Christianity, okay? We got Easter in these streets, we got Christmas in these streets, and everybody be out just staying away from work in these days. But we don't celebrate Rosh Hashanah or Hanukkah or any other Jewish holiday, even though we let the Jews take leave on those days, but it's going to be unpaid leave. When you take leave, it's going to fall within your leave days. Sorry, it doesn't qualify as a public holiday. That's what it's giving. We'll leave you to go and do Ramadan as a Muslim, but it's coming off your leave days. It's coming off your leave days. But public holidays that are Christian don't come off our leave days. Now, Christian public holidays don't come off anybody's leave days. Everybody be out here sitting at home making like a 10, hanging like a homie. Yeah. Everybody hangs 10 in the Girata. On Christmas, on Easter, back in the day, we used to also have Ascension Day, but they canceled that. I don't know why. All these Christian holidays in the country, we stay at home from school everywhere, and nobody be out here eliminating one day from our leave because of being on public holiday in these Christian holidays. Listen, the nation has tacitly agreed that it's a Christian country simply because Jews' public holidays get taken off their leave. days, and so too do Muslims. We don't tell them you don't get to go to Ramadan or else, but we tell them you can go, but just apply for leave on the system and I'll let you, spend all your days over there doing whatever you want to do, baby. We know that that's a fact. We don't celebrate the holidays. Yes, we might have holidays that commemorate, like Youth Day, like Freedom Day, our struggle and what we came out of. Hallelujah. We need to praise the Lord for setting us free and what have you. But largely, if you're at home chilling, making like a homie, swinging in a hammock at home, you're on some Christian holiday. So Muslim South Africans are aware that we get a free day that has to do with their Jesus, but I don't care. I'm a Muslim, but I'm enjoying my day off. Same thing with the Easter weekend. I'm a Muslim, but I'm enjoying these days off. They look forward to our very Easter. They look forward to our very Christmas because they look forward to also being off. And then when South Africa has a World Cup, they be standing up and clearly Africa. I told you guys in my last video about how it is that when we were growing up, we used to sing hymns in assembly, in public schools even. My younger sister is a Gen Z and we sang hymns at a reward ceremony at her school in her generation, even though it wasn't a private school. So you don't have to be a Catholic school or a Christian school that is private to sing hymns in assembly. Government schools be out there still doing it to this day. It's not like in America where they be out there taking prayer and public prayer out of schools. Hymn singing out of public schools. I don't know if they've ever since then changed their minds, but certainly as at the last time I checked, when my sister was in high school, which is not that very long ago, she's 24 today, Christian hymns were still being sung in assembly. And when I was on the come up, Muslim boys, Hindu boys, all these kids that belong to other religions in my school were not defiant in assembly, keeping quiet, unprepared to sing with us. They used to sing the hymns with us. As the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you. You alone are the one joy giver and the apple of my eye. I don't even know if they knew what they were doing, but what is true is that Muslims in assembly, when we were out here congregating to get, I guess, our daily fill of news for the week as to what's coming up in the school, they also sang hymns. Even though they were Muslim, Hindu, whatever, they were just singing in assembly. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you all, and I'm looking up because they're reading on the overhead projector. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are the real joy giver and the apple of my eye. I love you more than gold or silver. Only you can set. They be out just singing hymns to Jesus, being Muslims and everything. Look at you get evangelized. It's giving prayer in the mosque in the Middle East. It's giving dream and vision in the mosque, in the Middle East. Jesus out here meeting you halfway while you busy twerking to Allah or whatever. This is what used to happen in our schools. So Muslim kids that grew up in my generation know hymns. They know them. They recognize them because they chilled in assembly and sang them with us because they thought it was nothing, man, whatever. Growing up in a Christian country, out here, everybody just agrees that it's a Christian country, and if you want to join in hymn singing, join. If you don't want to join, no teacher's going to be whamming you with a rod on your back. Nobody's going to give you grief for refusing to sing Christian hymns in assembly because you're Muslim, because everybody had a right to a freedom of religion in this country. But if you join in, nobody's going to be like, what kind of a Muslim are you singing a Christian hymn? What kind? Nobody's gonna give you grief. That's what happens in a nation that is Christian. Everybody else, however, is just living in it. There is freedom to out here bop your head to Christian music, but you can also choose not to. And no one is gonna give you problems. No one. I spoke about that in my last video. Christian national anthem. KCC clearly freaker. Nkosi is Jesus, the King. Public holidays, Christian. Common law, therefore, majority statute. Derived from English law that is derived from Christian Judeo principles. We're a Christian nation, like in the worst way. And not only are we so Christian as we are, based on our statute and everything else that I've just highlighted above, on their tongues, the majority of South Africans call themselves Christian. And the other day, I found out that statistic is hovering around the 80th percentile. Proper. Most people that you go and interview in this country that is South Africa. So what's your religion? I'm coming here from a news network. I'm just doing statistics. I'm a university student just trying to get the color of the country. Demographically pertaining religion. What's your religion? Christian. These statistics are gathered, I would imagine, not just from a census done or even interviews conducted, but from banking, like, when you apply for like loans and stuff. That information generically is fed into Stats SA so as to gauge how many people in those forms, upon being asked, are you black, white, Asian, whatever, and also what is your religious affiliation, and then they tick on Christianity. Based on the tabulating of these stats, as according to South African filling out forms across multiple random institutions like banking, they then concluded that South Africa Apparently it's got 80% Christians in it. That's why, Kere, you are apostate in the worst way. Because the country wouldn't be looking anything like this if you were truly Christian. It wouldn't be. The level of Christian persecution that we endure, Hashem, what I'm going through, honey bumblebees. I wasn't even scared when I converted to Christ in this country because it was indeed originally very valid from the get-go. The real Makwe Christian, it was. So I should not have been trepidatious to convert to Christianity in South Africa because, like I said, Christian. 80% of the people in this country, as at the last time I checked, which is frankly years ago, so these stats are likely today a little bit different. 80% of our national people are of the imagination that they love Jesus. And I say it's an imagination because that's exactly what it is, because it's probably more around 15% true converts. But nonetheless, 80% of them say that they are saved. Okay, and I said 15 and not 50. 1-5. It's probably chilling in the teens. There is no other way it's not, because why am I so harassed? In this nation, therefore, you're going to easily find a whole chunk of vehicles with bumper stickers saying, Jesus loves me. Yes, I know. For the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They be bimbering songs and everything, but they bimbering the right music. So listen, I'm here for you on that day. I don't care if you can't sing. And so far as you be singing in the melodies of heaven, it's a fragrance in the sky. Yeah. Bumper sticker saying we love Jesus. Christian public holidays. However, over the years, you will make an observation markedly so that is hard to miss, that in spite of us being a Christian country and our holidays being Christian, in these Christian public holidays, nonetheless, is a whole bunch of pagan symbolism being proliferated. We be adoring hugging and kissing and smooching. The Easter bunny, don't nobody know what that's about. The reason why we've got Easter in this country is not about that crazy bunny, it's about Jesus. You're not going to see so many adverts about Christ on the television as we did back in the 90s around Easter. You're not going to see a whole bunch of the praisings of Jesus shows being played, basically letting us know that that time is coming. You were not going to get it, which no, not anymore. They have entirely paganized our public holidays, and on Christmas it is just ting 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 ting, 'tis the season to be jolly, just like in America everywhere. You've made it about that crazy tree, and you've made it about those crazy light bulbs, and you've made it about all these crazy presents, but not about Jesus. Nativity scenes barely found anywhere. There used to be nativity scenes in malls. Out here, Mary and the baby Jesus in the crib, away in a manger, no crib for his head. The little Lord Jesus lay down his sweet head. No more way in a manger. Joy to the world, so what? That's what South Africa's saying. No more nativity scenes in malls. No more nativity scenes at flea markets. No more nativity scenes even on big billboards. No more. Christmas is now entirely pagan, and all that you find in malls are these elaborate decorations that have nothing to do with the king. Alright, do you, baby? Looking like a pagan and everything, whatever. Do you? We have, of course, been evidently divorced from what it is that makes us what we are. So seeing as our country is a Christian country, but everybody else is living here, it's just living here. It's our nation, but everybody else is just living in it, but they live in peace because they're foreigners, aliens in our country, and we treat them well. Alright? We treat them well. We don't give them grief. We give them beautiful careers. If they want to study, do you. We're not going to give you grief because you're Muslim. We are not Christian nationalists. We are just a Christian nation, and everybody else is just living here. Alright? Very well. Now that we have put that out there, it must be comprehended, therefore, O individuals in these uneasy streets, that when then customary law started to be the thing that is the iron fist on the head of a Christian country, people should have rose up like ever so immediately and said, Mamela, even you, random lackluster traditionalist, it's my country and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if ancestral worship took you over too. Da, 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 da. We were supposed to indeed look at brazen ancestral worshippers on some, oh no you didn't. Listen, you all agree with all of your leaders upon signing in the constitution of this country that this here is a Christian nation, everybody else just be living in it. You all agree, seeing as we've got Christian public holidays, that you don't get to paramount all up in these streets customary law over constitutional law. Listen, you need to understand that you be stepping on a sister toe or whatever, and it needs to stop. It must stop. Seeing as black people that were pro their ancestors made up a small number, just like Muslims are a small number, and just like Hindus are a small number, just like Jews are a small number, but Christians make up the vast majority of the country. When then ancestral worshippers just brazenly rocked up and pushed their thing up everybody's throats, Christians were supposed to stand up on some, this is my country, you're just living in it. What are you doing? My law is much bigger than yours. Customary law is not neck and neck with constitutional law. It might try to be neck and neck with common law, but it can't be neck and neck with common law. Because within customary law, nobody ought to be dealing with crimes, with fraud. Nobody be out here dealing with Miranda rights. Nobody upon studying criminal law has to consider customary facets. Because in the spirit of customary law, a person can just go and sacrifice their child, harvest their organs, in the spirit of their demon gods, child sacrifice, and still be found wanting under common law. It's still a crime to kill people. So frankly, common law and customary law are not on par neck on neck, and yet it's trying to act like it's neck on neck. You can't actually be stealing things because of your ancestral worship and what you believe on the side, transferring wealth over, and then expect that common law is going to cover you in criminal procedure. It can't, it won't. It can't. So essentially, it's this like substandard fluffy law that, however, look at that. Like I said, tsunami in Japan after Fukushima, nuclear disaster. So over and above nuclear radiation poisoning, there is also just like a tsunami. Yeah. How in the world did we get taken over like a tsunami in Japan? By customary law. Listen, nobody understands. And so bad is this customary law crawl up our skirts like a bad man with his grabby paws. It's so bad that recently they literally tried to table the infiltration of polygamy into the common law so that men and women married under the common law, one spouse, one man for one woman, can now take a second wife if they want to, because they just wanted to eradicate the just overbearing, very tiresome affair of getting a divorce and then marrying under customary law is also very exhausting. Marrying under customary law and then only take my second wife. They didn't want to do that. Men who got greedy somewhere along the way were just lazy to divorce their wives and then remarry those women and then take a second wife in customary law. So they tried to like worm this gnarly beast into common law. When does stuff like this start becoming a thing? Pagan worship. I feel like I'm King Josiah at this point. I'm bringing down your Ashereth poles and your queens of heaven. So you can understand how taken over by a tutu in Japan South Africa is now. I mean, we got our own beaches, so we got our own tsunamis here. Yeah. So you can understand how bad this issue is. Gender-based violence, it is a byproduct of this allowance, this louver. And they can't even deal with it properly in criminal procedure, precisely because of just how many ritualistic elements are involved in many of these GBV cases. You will remember how Sandile Manswe, being a South African citizen, able to have himself defended by a lawyer in our courts regarding all laws of this country to defend his client, Sandile Manswe. Apparently, allegedly, there are facets of his case that are barely mentioned in his court case, but they were so incredibly telling as to why he ended up killing Ukarabo. Apparently, allegedly, she was a sacrifice. Apparently, allegedly, this chick was ritualistically killed. What do you do with that? Because everybody has a right to this freedom of religion and everybody has a right to their culture and their customs. And if at all you kill a woman in the name of your gods, could you not then on that day claim, but I've got a right to a freedom of religion? You can't have these laws trespassing each other out, you're clashing like go-karts. You gotta get rid of the other because it is entire contradiction to the other. And whatever you get rid of is what your country is made from. But can you build the nation on the fragments, the bones, the skeleton of customary law when it's so freaking diabolical? No, you can't. Therefore, that customary law is unconstitutional entirely and it has to be gotten rid of. But you all ought to be loving your machine, don't you? Yeah, that shimmy wham, shimmy wham, yeah, that shimmy wham. To just eliminate. And you're standing for things that are infringing laws of South Africans. Not laws, but rights. You're standing on people's chests. You understand what I'm saying? In the spirit of Mshiniwam, and then a successor after filling up a stadium 80,000 people strong saying kill the boy, kill the farmer. Of course you feel entitled to all that like a twat, even though the constitution thwarts it, it annihilates it, it makes out of it a pinnacled example of what not to do. But your customary law, you're entitled to all that ancestral adoration and you're entitled to basically continue to harass white people in 2025, the large majority of which did not even live now in the days of apartheid, with all of your crazy brand spanking new laws. You're like the Antichrist that way. He RGB manufacturing brand spanking news, popping them out of a hat like a little rabbit, and then terrorizing, listen everybody, bourgeois. So because now black women were strong material, it became very frustrating for those who have been allowed politely the leg room to marry as many women as they want to in a country that wanted to maintain the culture of polygamy, even though it wasn't even all that rife in apartheid. So it just goes to show that when men start to make money, they start to sin because they did not insist on multiple wives in apartheid. They couldn't afford them, I guess. But now that they are just being tycoons, roaming around these streets with all their greed, all their rapacity. Seeing as they're roaming these streets with all that rapacity, what they then insisted it was, I've got money now, I can afford to have 12 wives. But guess what? Women also have money. And given that their desires for their husband, they're unlikely going to agree to marry you since you've got two other little random chicks that are like chimpanzees in your house. Women, are you offended when you are in polygamous marriages? Listen, you're a chimp. Because as a result of you, all of us are dying. But I don't care, whatever. You're upset. So pew pew pew, and we'll just exchange pleasantries on the battlefield. Do you? So herein lies women gaining financial independence and men still feeling entitled, emboldened by the law. Because if you make illegal stuff law, it emboldens people. We just come out of systematic oppression. We saw how legalizing trash made white people even more racist. But as soon as trash was repealed. They got contrite. When you correct a thing, people repent. So when then you bring a brand spanking new worm into the constitution, into the law of the country, you then create men that were relatively content to have one wife. Feel like, but I feel like I like Renee Leto. I also want cattle. I don't care that you like me. I don't like you. You made men rapacious for more wives because you made it allowable for them to take more wives. When you open the louvers of law to be looser, you cause a people that can be benefited by that loose law to be emboldened. That's why there's so many more gay people in these streets. It's because they legalized gay marriage in our country. When you are to be giving people wide sweeping rights, they don't have an incentive to conquer sin. They feel like they can marry in Christ another lady as a lady. That's why this chick at YouTube be walking around with manhood. So if at all you're going to legalize polygamy, a random like dust particle, if you're going to legalize polygamy, you're going to get more and more black men who feel most covered by customary law more than any other demographic. You're going to cause black men to be like, I want 2 or 3 wives. And if you want 2 or 3 wives, okay, whatever, do you. If those women will agree. But you don't get to clap Karabo when she doesn't want to. You proliferated the epidemic in this country of cheating, of infidelity. When I was growing up in South Africa, we had the worst prevalence of HIV in the world. I don't know what has ever since then happened to those statistics, but we had the highest HIV infection rate in the world. Why wouldn't we have the highest HIV infection rate in the world when after Mandela becomes president, black men are told go marry as many women as you want? And we're a black country. You caused infidelity in men to ramp up to the nth degree. You exsanguinated Christianity out of them. You gave them a louvre of escape. You gave them allowance to cheat. And in so creating that allowance, they then did exactly what you allowed them to do, cheat. A person is not going to eat minimally at an all-you-can-eat buffet. They will gluttonously devour as much as they want to because there's all that food. But if you limit what they can eat to one plate that is on the menu, if they want to order a second plate, they're going to have to pay another $1. So they get disincentivized from eating 2 burgers at McDonald's as opposed to 1. But if you put all the McDonald's burgers at an all-you-can-eat buffet, even though they're going to want to eat a second burger and a third and a fourth just because they don't want to waste food, except your stomach is full. I spoke about what it is that was my issue with putting too much mayonnaise, too much food in my plate because I was eating hungry. I was dishing up hungry, but I would get to the point where I'm so full that I'm like, ugh, and I start to breathe. But I insist on finishing my food, and so I gained weight. So to notice that my rings out here be latching on a little too snugly around my fingers, I made a decision to just eat as much as I get to the point of feeling like I'm full. So I don't fill up my plate anymore, and so I insist on finishing food, and neither do I insist on putting a carpet of mayonnaise on my plate. When you put parameters in your plate, you put parameters in your stomach. I don't dish out as much food anymore in my plate as I used to. And that is the self-control that I put in my life. That is the diet. That is the I've had enough, and so I'm putting my plate down. I don't need to eat more. But if you put a big fat chunky plate in front of a 7-year-old, yawning, especially if the food is something that they love. Like if it's cake, if it's McDonald's burgers, if it's Steers chips fries, they're gonna want to finish them because it's my Steers chips and my Steers fries. If you're gonna go out here and make like McDonald's in the US and hook up Coca-Cola in a big fat chunky can like that, they're gonna want to finish it. Because why would I want to throw away perfectly viable Coca-Cola? The straw is going to give me an optical illusion of it not being that much. But if you buy the smallest little size of Coca-Cola, you have restricted yourself, you've limited yourself, you've given yourself what we call self-control pertaining drinking all that Coca-Cola. So you're not going to get all that fat from Coca-Cola and extra hectic. Yeah. Therefore, customary law in this crazy incendiary bampunari over South Africa put black women in all of their cornucopia, gorgeosity, and all their colorfulness before all these rapacious men. Your customary law taught people that all you can eat buffet, I can marry them all. Pokemon! Gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all. They thought we were Pokemon. Anyway. Seeing as they were of the imagination that the Pokemon they sought to catch us all. And if at all they're hunting and gathering and want to put an extra babe in his house, he will by any means necessary do just that. Because men are made to be hunters, are they not? And so if they're looking for a wife, they will hunt her and then they will gather her in their house. But if at all you're told all the game in the Kruger National Park is there for your taking, they will indeed do just that, hunt it all. So Bashet and decided to marry customarily, decided to take out lobola for women, and conveniently neglect to walk a woman down the aisle in a civil marriage, in a common marriage. Amadoda keep lobola all over the show. Besumfazi is like, so when are we gonna sign? When are we gonna go to Home Affairs? When are we gonna marry under casta or under common law so that I can know that you're my husband according to that law? And then they drag their feet. That's why back in the day when I was on the come up, I was like, this is how this is gonna get. A man is gonna pay lobola for me this week. Next week we're doing white wedding. So Abantu need to prepare themselves for 2 weeks of a marriage celebration like with Jews or whatever. We're gonna be at a wedding celebration for 7 whole days. baby, we're gonna take out amalobola namhlanje siyenze ovuma abakhwenyani and whatnot. Feel amabala, you later. Got traditional outfits last week. Next week Saturday, here comes the bride, all dressed in white. Here comes the bride, dressed in white. Yeah. I was like, ain't nobody out there gonna be taking out the lobola for me, and 2 years later I am still yet to be married under the common law. Common law, keep a lobola, and that is how you are deemed as marriage. But in customary law, but in the common law, you sign ID, go home affairs, marriage under common law. That's what it's written down. So this dude, when he cheats on you, you can sue him for everything he has got divorced. But customary law, first and foremost, it just assumes community of property. And secondly, customary law puts a woman at the risk of injanja fela ikathala. Yawning. Until it's that way there. Hi, okay, bora yo mara refuel so fly. So after dating Karabo for 4 years, I'm gonna tell Malobolo because she gave him a child. Let's let my papa from Okatala logo and talk. He's like, yo, Ukarabo Minasegan Katasa. And then without too much of a red tape, no need for a divorce. No need to go hectic bongatangata mustakaking. I'll take you if Pupilen Kareke, Sipo Fadenkareke Yana Yandisa. The Cheriensha. Also, now Tabida, oh, he put a ring on my finger, Kanjani. I got a ring for Ukarabo. She's given him 2 kids. Under common law, this dude can go and grab himself another lady. I'll keep a manyama for Urifi. And when then Urifilam Katazanaye. That's what he told. This time he did there. And then this time he's an old dude. So I celebrate after university students. Vesati Mfuna no neo. Mfuna Vivian Nolera. Take about a don't make hot. Take about a locomotive. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Jay-Z, I love girls all over the street. Put your number on this paper because I would love to date you. Holla at you when I come off tour. Dude be out here marrying multiple women. You will remember there was a celebrity guy. I forgot his name. Some musician that won Idols. He out here took lobola for Nomza Mumbata and I believe also Jessica Nkosi. In the entertainment industry. Both married to the same guy. But now today, both women are in denial that they ever married him because I get it, they ignore Uti customary marriage is an actual marriage. Take out lobola, but completely neglects to marry officially in the common law. And so therein lies the loophole to be a polygamist. Ana mona no but that's in the damages a baby mama. Nida lobola. That's ever gonna come and take me because common lawyer thing, but largely home affairs loot. If at all akuna ID, can you change of personality with the state? You're not my muyeni. So Kenya malobola that linger for that you take out namhlanje and then after 3 years only you do white wedding. Some people never do the white wedding, and you know what? They're blessed when their husbands don't go around them. You're blessed when your husband is like under customary law. That's enough. It's fine. Keep and then stays faithful to one woman. He's a better man than most, but in this country they be actually exploiting that loophole, customary law, and so therefore making themselves polygamist while women are like, I didn't sign up for this. Women are like, no, I didn't sign up for this, but the guy's like, well, I did. China. That's why basadi ba kwatile hakana mona wa go ke bobi wena mona wa go ke dogo no makatso chi di bobi di batla basadi ba 20 mara a se bobi ke eng a se ke go hobola ke eng. So anyway, so njengoba makugcwele kangaka with all this nonsense, when then there are women among them that are like nyakubona ngikujongile, just like nami I was like I'll teach doing upanje fela ha re save for go nyala ne o tlhaloganya ro patala lobola ka jeko next week re etsa white wedding, and the only thing that's going to block that trajectory from being a thing is car accidents abulalwa wa come down your COVID-19 volume 2.0 that locked down everybody, and that's why we couldn't have a white wedding. Man, unless there's like a natural disaster, sizochata 1 week after lobola. Common law. You're not going to string me the heck along in a crazy marriage that doesn't look like a marriage, and so you go and you take a second wife, breaking my heart to smithereens. So I'm prepared to wait. Kita Emma Abuti. Darling, delay, my way in a wait where he's on my brother. For as long as it takes for us to save you, you'll give that a die elaborate wedding. You say, yeah, venue. A white, and the week before Sienzi Lobola. Gizolinda Wayne wait where Ugutingas, yo man, you keep Lobola this week. Next week, brother can be out to come here and flying kick some kind of way sideways. Get I am. I would take it like me. It's like a save a personal loan. Save a mashankura. For a return 300,000 white wedding, and the week before 150,000 customer. It's alright. It's 4 years before proposal. Insofar as that'll be the chronology, because you are not gonna dupe me into entering into a customary marriage. Get all lethargic. Another white wedding even it doesn't even have to be white wedding, very elaborate. In Japan, baby. Take it a baby. Come on, Lanka 20. No, but get jubile, get disavile, and on Yabon. Ndigo jongile daughter. Ndigo jongile. Got to aga jongeki, no jongile. Jengoma umbubona, but he still beat you. Okay, it's anyway, so here in last customary law, women are now strong. And so because Basardi are now strong, like an ox, materially, Amantota then got aggressive. That's the thing. They got aggressive. Because if at all there is a buffet of food put in front of you, and then there's like a little scone. If there is a buffet of food in front of you, but there's like a little scone over there, on some, I don't want to be eaten. I don't want to be chosen. I don't want you to eat me. I'm a special scone. I know who I am. I know I'm special. I don't do polygamy. I'm addicted to monogamy. When there is a scone with a ballad in its mouth, saying, I'm not here for the taking. Though by your government, I've been placed in a buffet with all these other pastries, I'm not here for the taking. I'm a special scone. This guy's gonna be like, yes, like wa. Alo shapa scone so kampa. Ansam yon tata, because you're on the buffet for me to devour. Sisters. These men got hostile and passive aggression towards independent women because they made like scones that sang a different tune in the climate of polygamy, and they started harassing us, they started slapping us. When we left them, they started killing us. When women in polygamous marriages back in the day stuck around with crazy dudes, because where am I gonna go? But now they're like, I don't want a man that's not a one woman man in a monogamous union. And if at all you're a polygamist, it's okay. Listen, do you? Then I'm willing to accommodate that. But then, do you, baby? I'm not one of them. Because I'm the special scone and I don't care that your crazy country that ignores its own law just so happens to have placed me in a buffet in front of you. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am. So since I'm here and we're Funa, I then get to make my own independent decision as a scone. But then they then make a decision to put jail cells around the scone that I be. Listen, why are you doing all that? I'm a scone. I'm important. You don't seem to care for scones. Do you even like puff pastries? Do you have an issue with pastries at all? I see you. You've got issues with pastries. Well, I'm a scone, and I'm a special scone. And whether or not you put me in a jail cell, I'm gonna make like Michael Schofield and break out. Cause I'm a scone that belongs to Jesus. A scone that belongs to the King. I'm a beautiful scone from Christ. I'm a scone in the Lord. And so since I'm a scone in Christ, listen, do you with your jail cells and everything. I'm getting out of this anyway. Okay? Anyway. Like a smooth criminal. Woo! Out of here.